which is the Friday after you come back, there's a practice test that you guys can go over and over and over and over and over. D2L is finished. It's like shut down and being upgraded from Wednesday at like 4 until Monday at about 4 o'clock. Okay? So this 5-day break or 4-day break, you guys won't have access to it, but on the Tuesday you will. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So when you're doing your project 4, pick something in pick something with the fur trade. We're going to do the Feedawa. Okay? When we go to the Feedawa, you guys remember how we ask questions at the beginning? We're not doing that. We're asking one question at the beginning. So if your overall project is going to be on the 7 Years' War, the War of 1812, or raise your hand again if you're finishing or plan to finish Project 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you guys can do the American Revolution. Nobody else can. Okay? So 7 Years' War or War of 1812. Now, if you did the War of 1812, it's way, way, way too big, correct? Yes or no? You're just going to mouth breathe at me? Yes? Wake up. Okay? This is why I hate lecturing, because you're just sitting here staring at me. How many people know what I talked about? What can't you do? Put your hand down. You were listening. You were listening, yeah? American Revolution. Okay? 2 people out of the class. Remember how I said lectures don't work? 2 people out of a class of 30, minus the 5, so 2 people out of 25 kids knew what I was talking about. I literally just said it. This is being recorded. This will go up on D2L. For your parents that are like, I like lectures. Lectures work. 2 out of 25. To me, 8% retention is not good enough. Okay? It's all right here. Yes? Okay. Now, we're going to open up a new Google Doc. We open up Feedawa. What's the very first question you have about Feedawa? Yeah? What is a Feedawa? Fantastic question. Maybe you should type that into Google. Because one question is enough to start this project. If you're going to choose War of 1812, what would be your first question? Yeah?
What was the War of
1812? What was it? What happened? Who was important? Like, there's so many individual questions that you can start, and it leads you into a whole bunch of other things. So, what were the Feedawa? Oh my God, it's right here. We're going to open up this. We're going to open up this. We're going to open up Canadian history, or look backwards. There you go, Canadian Encyclopedia. So we're going to open up those 3. Very first is Wikipedia. Now, for those of you who have looked at the rubric, how do you get a 3 out of 3 on research? You don't use Wikipedia. Does that mean I can't look at it? No, doesn't mean that at all. It means you absolutely can look at it. Don't cite it. It's a bad site to cite. So find the information there, double check it somewhere else, and then triple check it and use those other 2 sites as your sources. Make sense? Okay. Awesome, my computer's super slow. Gotta love technology, guys.
Probably all the pages that are open.
Yeah.
Great.
So, Feedawa, King's Daughters, were some 770 women who arrived in the colony New France between 1663 1673. Financial sponsorship of King Louis the 14th of France. Most were single French women, and many were orphans. Transportation to Canada, settlement of colony were paid for by the king. Some were given a royal gift of a dowry of 15 livres for their marriage of one unmarried colonist. So these gifts are reflected in some of the marriage contracts entered into by the Feedawa, first time of their first marriage. So, if you guys have a question from here. Yep. Why were these women? Would this be on that site? Maybe? Keep reading. Read the highlighted area. Does that answer why? So you can write down right away, you write down why is this, and so you start. What was our very first question? What is an FDR? Not the president. We go copy. We go paste. We come back. We copy this site. We go back here. Enter space. Control V space. We come back. What was your second question? Why were these women what? Just makes sense. Should you ask 14 questions and then come to me and say, I have 14 questions, are these good questions? No. Should you ask one question and go find the answer and let that question lead your research? Yes. There's a comic book called the Locksleys and the War of 1812, which has fantastic information for the War of 1812. The War of 1812, if you choose to do the Russia-Prussian invasion of Germany, you're going to get a 0. This has to be the War of 1812 or the 7 Years' War as it pertains to North America and specifically Canada. I don't care that France invaded Germany or Spain or... Do you realize that the 7 Years' War took 9 years? Okay? Also, it says it started in 56 till 63, but it was over by 56 in Canada, 57. And it was already going for 2 years before 56, started in 54. So it's a little different because is Canada important on a world stage in 1756? No, we have like 800 people. We're importing women so we can have kids. That's how important we are. It's just a whole bunch of dudes farming and hunting. Okay? Not very important on a world stage yet. Yet. Even today, very debatable. World War I, very debatable. Because if you talk to World War I or II historians, they're like, yeah, we did this, we did this. We're like, yeah, but you were one division within a 1 million person army. We had like 5,000 people that fought really hard. That's great, but there were 100,000 people there. I just gave you an opportunity to increase your grade by 6% and 5 of you did it. Which tells me that you know that 6% is not that much. Right? So we're less than that on a national stage. Okay? Militarily. So 7 Years' War, very important to Canadian history because it's when Canada becomes English, not French. This is when that happens. War of 1812 is when we become Canada and not American. Okay? Those are the two things that we care about. But War of 1812 is way too big. So do the green coats. Do a general. Do a battle. Do a treaty. Do something very, very specific. Okay? When we go back to Wikipedia, you guys didn't ask this. Who is Louis the 14th? We could ask that, who is Louis the 14th, correct? We open this up, we go to a new tab, we type down the question, who is X1V? Okay? And then we go back, and oh my God, right here, that's where the answers are. And we have it right there, and we just have to find it somewhere else. Does that make sense? When we go back to the Feet-a-Wall, the King's Daughters, when we go through, there's going to be other links. The Intendant of New France, the Marguerite Bourgeois. Bourgeois? I don't know. I don't speak French. What is a dowry? It's highlighted right here. Most often, these links on Wikipedia will help you quite a bit. You have 3 weeks to do this this project. For the rest of the year, the projects will go 3 weeks at a time. Because how long does it take you to do like a test, working with friends? 2 days? 1 day?
Sorry for the interruption itself. It's junior high. Junior high. Someone in your homeroom needs to go back to your homeroom teacher, your TA, and pick up the white bag with the accurate number of napkins, forks, and cutlery. The juice, pancakes, and plates are provided in the foyer, but in your homeroom, you should have a bag with your utensils. Thank you.
Before we deal with pancakes, I want to finish this. Okay, what was I saying? Oh man, I couldn't remember the word.
3 weeks at a time.
Okay, so how long does it take for a test? 1 to 2 days, right? Okay, so 2 days with a friend. Let's be really conservative. 2 days with a friend. What about the 7.25 quizzes? 1 day, maybe 2, with a friend. So there's, let's say, 3 days total out of 21 days. You have 18 days to do this. That's more than enough, because from here, once you have all this, should you stop and then do the mind map and then do the jot notes and then finish? Thank you.
You guys are 7 out, right?
Yeah.
This is your bag. Stop.
Nice.
Who wants it?
Just put it right there.
Water boy. Water boy.
Can I have it?
Okay. Shh. Now, when you have all your information, you should then go do a mind map to organize your information. When you realize that there's a huge gap in your learning, what should you do? Go back and research more. Ask more questions. So then it goes questions, research, mind map, questions, research, mind map, research, mind map, questions, mind map, research, questions, research, research, mind map, questions, research, research, questions, until you're about 2 days away from the due date, and you look at it all and you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. I have X amount of understanding, and I'm happy with that amount of understanding. 2 more days, because it's going to be, you have an extra week to do this, right? So it's a cost-benefit analysis of, is it worth the extra week, which eats into your Project 5 timeline, because that is a set due date as well. But can you increase your grade that much in a week or not? Because you have 1 week. If you're sitting at like a 30%, and you're like, yeah, but if I put a hard 2 weeks in, I'll put a hard week on this one, get it up to an 80, and then I'll work really hard on the next one, get that up to an 80, and then I'll be good. But if you're going to increase it by 2%, hand it in. Move on to the next part. If you hand it in early, I'm going to really ask you, like, why? Is this really the best you can do? You can't spend more time looking into this? You can't, there's nothing else you can know? But you guys can move at your own speed. These tests will be finished, but 3 weeks is a good amount of time to do this. Does this make sense? 2 weeks before your deadline, you should look at your mind map. You should go back, make your jot notes, make your presentation. Because your presentation takes you how long? 5 to 10 minutes? Your jot notes takes you 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes? Does that make sense? Okay. We're not having the test till the 19th. So you guys have today